Hey, Lisa Willis. This is the long promised podcast. I've had the flu. I'm still kind of have it. You can tell I'm hoarse and my nose is a little stuffed up. But I'm going to do this podcast, so I'm going to play two of the new songs that I just released. Voices Unheard in Denial, and I haven't decided what the second one is. I'm going to play Divided We've Fallen. So I'm gonna play this super new piece. Okay, I'm gonna play it. Okay, so I'm gonna play. I'm silly, I know. I'm gonna play Divided We've Fallen, and I'm gonna play. But first, I'm gonna play In Denial, and then I'm gonna do a podcast on baseball. Okay. And as promised, I'm going to tell you the difference between a two seam and a four seam fastball. It's going to be really cool because I know what I'm talking about. Okay, let me fight. This is Voices Unheard in Denial. And now I'm going to play Divided We've Fallen. I think I like that title. It's a description of what's happening in our country right now, and I'm writing lyrics for that, by the way. So both this song and the one I'm about to play, I'm writing lyrics for both of those, It's just that they're instrumentals at the moment. So I'd like to do that. And then that way I release the instrumental. People know, hey, that's cool. And then later, when I write lyrics, unless I start working with vocals, So anyway, okay, enough inside baseball. I'm going to be doing a baseball podcast. And like an idiot, I was thinking about something while I was playing just now. Now, I'm not nearly as sick as this, but remember when Michael Jordan had the flu really bad and he just fucking went out and lit it up anyway in the finals? Well, okay, I'm not as sick as he was, and it's not like I play guitar as well as he played basketball. Having said that, I don't feel good. I really don't. But I've been promising to do this for a while, so I'm just doing it. Okay, so next song, Divided We've Fallen. With the flu. I want credit for this. I'm with the flu. I'm doing this podcast. Come on, fucking give me some credit for that. Professionalism. Okay, so it's a week late, but it's still professionalism. Okay, Divided We've Fallen. Wait, I like to start it with this string. Hold on a second. Divided We've Fallen. Okay. Now, with the flu, with a headache, with my voice hoarse, with my nose stuffed up, and I'm going to try not to. I'm not going to blow my nose during the podcast. God. Okay, baseball. First, I'm going to start out with how did I get into baseball. This is a little bit of a sad story. When I was a kid, I found baseball to be hopelessly boring. I used to play it. Like I remember when I was like 8, we lived in this big apartment complex, and there was this little area that we were not supposed to play in, but like we just fucking did anyway. And so we were all like 8, 9 years old, and we fucking played baseball. And occasionally, one of us would hit a home run and kaboom right into someone's window, and then we just all went scattering. And, we have fun. Yeah, I love playing baseball. I haven't played in a super long time, but the point is I didn't like watching it. I thought it was the most boringest thing ever. And my grandfather loved baseball. Now football was his favorite sport, but he loved baseball, and he always wanted me to go to games with him. I'm like, I found it so boring. I never went. My grandfather died of cancer when I was 14. When I was 15, we got cable. That's sad to say, but the first time we had cable was when I was 15. So my grandfather dies when I was 14 of cancer. The next year, when I'm 15, we get cable, and I'm gonna write a book later about my life because it's rather tragic, and I think it's going to end in a spectacular fashion, and so therefore really should write about it. I just haven't done it yet because it's fucking triggering, And there's a woman, I'm not gonna mention her name, but there's a woman on LinkedIn, and she's a ghostwriter, and so I offered, hey, would you write this with me? And the reason was because I find it triggering, and I thought it might be a little easier to, just kind of tell her, and then but fuck, I'm a better writer than you, and she's like, well, she wants to charge me. Forget it. I'm in this business to make money, not to spend it. Okay. So I will write it on my own. It's taking me a little bit because it is a little triggering. But when you read the book, you will understand why at 15 I visited high school thanks to my abusive principal, and I don't want to get into it anymore. But here I am, 15. We finally get cable, and I'm at home all day, and I'm watching cable, and there's WGN. I grew up in Pasadena, and in Pasadena, I haven't been in Pasadena since 2007, but I grew up there, and at that time, when you got basic cable, you also got WGN, which is a superstation in Chicago, and they showed a lot of cool shit. They had a lot of great sitcoms and syndication and stuff. They had some movies, I think. It was a really long time ago. But one thing they had was they played Cubs games, and the Cubs played most of their games of the day. Even that, this is before they had the lights. They got the lights several years later. And of course, they don't use them that much. It's tradition, I get it, But at the time, they didn't even have the lights yet. And so they played all of their games in the daytime, as we've been doing for over 100 years. And by the way, I heard some people say that's why they went so long with that way to the World Series, because they're playing all those games in the summertime, in the heat, day after day, wears them out. By the time the postseason comes along, they're worn out. There's probably something to that. Now, it's interesting that they won the World Series after they built those lights, but they don't use them that much. So, but that is an interesting thought, But, they did win it, so we can stop fucking with it for a while, can't we? So anyway, the point is that the Cubs games would come on every day around 11:10 in the morning, and I wasn't into baseball, but there was nothing else on at the time, so I just fuck it, I watch it. I like to play, I watch it. And if you know anything about the 1985 Cubs, I can't remember all of them. I think Ryan Sandberg was on that team. I think Lee Smith was their closer. Don't quote me. I think his name was Jeffrey Durham. Something Durham played. I love that team. It's that they didn't win the division. And, that's when Harry Carey was doing the announcing. And he was not unapologetic. He's rooting for the Cubs. When the Cubs win, Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win! And when the Cubs lose, and the Cubs lose. He said, "Fuck you! I don't care. I'm rooting for the Cubs." I love Vince Scully. Vince Scully, I thought was the best broadcaster in baseball history. He was always so good, but he didn't do that. When he was doing Dodger games, like locally, a little bit, but even still not really. But when he did like World Series, hey man, he was right down to the line. He's a fantastic broadcaster. But there's two different styles, and I got a message from someone. I will look at it later. I get messages all the time. There's two different styles, and one of the styles is kind of keeping it narrow. Another style is rooting for the particular team, and there's nothing wrong. They're both valid, especially if you're doing a local stuff. So he's rooting for the Cubs, and it's exciting. And even though they didn't win all the time, they were exciting. They were an exciting team. It seemed like they got along together. I love that team. I'm a Dodger fan. I grew up in Pasadena, 20 miles from LA. So I'm a Dodger fan. But the first team that I rooted for was the Chicago Cubs. I love that team. In '85, when the Dodgers won the division, I wasn't even rooting for them. I didn't give a shit. I liked the Cubs. And I was disappointed they weren't in the postseason. And it was only the next season because at that point I had gotten into baseball. So now I'm in LA. Naturally, there's the Dodgers. So obviously I'm going to follow the team closest to me. And as I start getting into baseball, that's when I start loving that team. Now I just fucking love the Dodgers. We just won the World Series. We kicked the Yankees' ass. That's right. You thought I wasn't going to brag about that? In San Francisco? Fuck no. Yeah, the Dodgers won the World Series. That's right. Okay. And by the way, when I was like 17, 18, 19, I even tried to play. I love baseball. I love baseball. It's just that I didn't get into it till I was like 17. Nobody believes this. I was running a 4.340 when I was 17. It's just I wasn't in high school. Nobody fucking saw it. I was lightning fast. I'm 55 now, and I'm in spectacular shape. I live in San Francisco. I go up and down these fucking hills like it's nothing. I have this little game where I try to beat people up the hill. And it's like dude, he's 25 or some shit, and I'm like totally kicking his ass going up that hill. I do that all the fucking time. I'm in fantastic shape. And so, but when I was 17, I was super fucking fast. I was fast, and I would catch people's eye. I was so fast. And so I envisioned myself, I'm going to play baseball, I'm going to be a good hitter, I'm going to be really fast, but I got into it so late that I just didn't have the skills. I tried out for the team, and it just, I didn't have the skills yet. I didn't have developed it, but I always felt like I had the ability to play. Just didn't get into it in time. But I fucking love watching it. Okay, so that's the origin. How did I lose? And by the way, I became a Dodger fan before '88. I was a Dodger fan in '86 and '87 when they fucking sucked. And those games were awful to watch because they were just getting their asses kicked all the time. But at that point, I fucking loved that team. I loved them every season. They happened to win the World Series this year. But even when they fucking sucked, I loved that team. I always will. I love the Dodgers. And baseball is my favorite sport. So, naturally, so anyway. So that's how I got into baseball. Now, I'm going to explain to you the difference between a two-seam and a four-seam fastball. Obviously, when you grip the baseball, I don't have a baseball on me, so I can't. Do I even have an orange? I had an orange earlier and I ate it. So should have saved it. But it doesn't matter. You know what a baseball looks like. So when I don't know how to throw these pitches. It's just that I've done research on it. But what you do is you grip the ball with the two seam. Obviously, your fingers, your two fingers here are touching two seams. Whereas when you throw the four seam, your fingers are touching four seams. But what's the difference in the pitches? So with the two seam, if the pitcher is right-handed, when he throws the two-seam fastball, it will dart very slightly to the side that he's throwing it. So here you are, the hitter, and let's say the guy has a really good fastball. Let's say it's 95, 100 miles an hour. And here you are, you're waiting on the fastball, and it comes, and just as you were about to, then it fucking darts on you. Just a little bit. Which means you're either going to miss it or you're going to hit it weakly, a weak ground ball to the shortstop or some shit like that. And that's obviously not what you want. So that's the point of the two seam. What's the four seam? What's the difference? The four seam fastball rises a little. So again, the hitter is sitting here waiting on the pitch, and then he's giving a swing, and just hit that fucking thing rises on him. It's kind of a reverse split finger in a way. Split finger is more dramatic, but that's what a split finger fastball is. Split finger fastball is it comes and just as the hitter is about to hit, it dips on his ass because there was a guy, I know my baseball, and at like 86, 87, there was a pitcher named Mike Scott, who I think in 87 he won 18 games. I know fucking baseball. It's either 86 or 87. But I know fucking baseball. And this guy would throw a split finger fastball, and it was the best fucking split finger fastball anyone's ever seen, and therefore people thought he was scuffing the baseball. If you don't know what that means, he sneaks in a little small nail file, and when no one's looking, he scuffs the ball up a little bit. And believe it or not, when the ball is moving that fast with that much velocity, that little bit of scuffing that he does causes it to dip. So it's going, and it dips just like a split finger fastball. But of course, that's cheating. You're not supposed to do that. But he was good. Nobody ever proved, as far as I know, that he was scuffing the ball. But fuck everybody do it. To me, I knew the proof for sure when he made the All-Star game, because Gary Carter was the catcher of the New York Mets, and he was the loudest guy saying, this dude is fucking scuffing the ball. And he was just accusing him. He was making a big deal. Like they would play and the ball would dip, and he was like, look at the umpire like, man, this dude is scuffing the ball, right? So now the All-Star game comes up. Gary Carter is the starting catcher. Mike Scott, I don't know if he was the starting pitcher, but he pitched in the All-Star game. So here we have Mike Scott pitching, throwing the ball to Gary Carter, the guy that keeps saying he's scuffing the ball. And guess what? Mike Scott got his ass lit up. Fucking lit up. What happened to the great split finger fastball, dude? He didn't throw it because how could he? Gary Carter was catching. He would know that he was scuffing it, so he didn't throw it. And even though no one ever caught him, that was the proof. That was all the proof I needed. He's fucking scuffing the ball. So that's the way of cheating. But pitchers like pitchers with really long fingers, and they were able to control the ball, and they hold it in between their fingers like this. So they support it with this thumb, but then they wedge it in between these two fingers. And so when they throw it, as it comes, it dips. It's unbelievable. Sliders and all of this shit is based upon the velocity of the ball. It's about physics. Somebody wrote a book about baseball physics. I never did read that. I'm gonna find that. I can't remember who it was, but that's gotta be fucking fascinating. But all of that shit, like, so while I'm talking about, I said I was gonna explain the split finger and the 2C fastball and the 4C fastball, and then of course I just explained the split finger. Might as well go into the slider because the slider has the coolest story ever. One of the greatest hitters of all time, Ted Williams. And Ted Williams once was interviewed, and he was really good at hitting the slider, and somebody asked him about it. He was talking about it, and he says, I know it's the slider coming because I can see the little red dot. And the guy said, what are you talking about? And he had tremendous vision. So when you throw the slider, I don't really know how to throw it, but I'm not a pitcher. But I kind of have an idea of it. When you throw the slider, you kind of twist it as you throw it. That's why they don't like that. They don't like let kids throw curveballs, because with the curveball, you go like that when you throw it. I don't know how to throw a knuckle curve. Is that a knuckle curve or a regular curve? I don't know how to throw a knuckle curve. But you basically throw it like, oops. You basically throw it like that, and then that's what causes it to do its action. And with the slider, you kind of go like that, sort of. Something you obviously can't do it like that, because then the hitter would know it's a slider. So you got to hide all of these pitches. It's called tipping your pitches if you don't do this, because these hitters, these are big leaguers, so they know right away this is the slider, because he always does this when he throws the slider. So you got to throw it in a way, and that's what makes it difficult. And that's why they don't let kids throw it in little league, because it puts too much pressure. Like if you do it right now, you can feel that pressure on these ligaments. Their ligaments are still in development, so that's why they don't let them do it. They can get injured very easily. Even adults get injured sometimes throwing pitches like this. It's very difficult. It's big time. These big leagues, right? So the slider, he does it like this, so the ball is spinning, and that's why it has this action where it kind of like it comes, like the guy's looking for it, and it comes in, depending on which direction it goes in, it kind of slides, kind of like goes like this, and then kind of goes like that. And so now so he thinks it's a fastball, and then it dips on it. And especially sliders are a little slower than the fastball. So now the guy's really excited. He's like, oh yeah, a nice, soft, slow fucking fastball that I'm going to hit 500 feet. And just as he's fucking swinging, the fucking thing does this on him, and he misses, or hits a weak ground, or pop up, or something like that. But here's the thing. The seams on the fastball are red. And this dude had such great vision that when the ball was spinning, he could see. He's talking, when he says the little red dot, it's an optical illusion, but it's because the ball is spinning so fast, it creates the optical illusion of a little red dot. He could fucking see that from 60-something feet away. And he knew right away, lighter. And so he's just fucking away, and kaboom. Dude was awesome. Now, I'm not into like war, but I heard, he was a fighter pilot in, I think both World War II and Korea, I think. And supposedly, he's an even better fighter pilot than he is a hitter. That's what I heard. Dude was awesome. He froze his head, by the way. Maybe, just maybe, he gets the last laugh and he gets to live again. That would be cool. I love Ted Williams. Well, just a fantastic guy. Didn't know him personally, obviously, but he seemed like, just from the footage I've seen and interviews and stuff, he seemed like he was a great guy. Just a great person. And such a great hitter. Oh my God. Boy, I would just love to talk to him about hitting. That'd be awesome. The great Willie Mays just died. I'm a Dodger fan, but I say the greatest player of all time is Willie Mays, and I don't give a shit what uniform. That's the greatest player of all time, period. Willie Mays. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about baseball? I've been talking a while. It's only 26 minutes. Supposedly a podcast is supposed to be around 30 minutes. So I want to say, what else do I want to talk about? I should talk about the predictions, right? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I love the Dodgers. And Dave Roberts is currently the manager. Very nice man. I like him. I don't know him personally, of course. But from what I can see, he seems like such a nice man. I really hate criticizing him. I really do. I really do. But the Dodgers have won 2 World Series under Dave Roberts. They should have won more, like 5. Now we know that the Astros were cheating and they stole that World Series because they were stealing sides. But they should have won more. He makes terrible decisions. This Moneyball stuff, I hate it. Put the players in, let them play, let them get their rhythm in, and then when the postseason comes along, they're ready for action. So that's what I say. Other than the podcast, because it's around 30 minutes, you're supposed to keep it around 30 minutes. So I'm going to do another one on baseball because I know a hell of a lot more about that. I didn't talk about Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, the leading home run hitter of all time. He played at the Negro League, so obviously he didn't play in the big leagues. But on the other hand, they didn't face Negro League players, and they were all fantastic. We're going to do an entire podcast on the Negro League one day soon. I love talking about baseball. All right, goodbye. Lisa Willis, her podcast. Goodbye. See ya.